Hi, everyone, and welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond, the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I'm a bereavement specialist. Hi, Susan. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Lisa. So good to see you as well. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm Susan Capurso. I'm an end-of-life doula and legacy specialist. And today we're talking about a subject that really pertains to everybody that's gone through a loss. I want to mention from the get-go, though, that a lot of the triggers that Lisa and I will talk about today come from personal experience because we've both lost a spouse, among many other people in our life, but they may be directed towards our spouses. So just know that you can take these triggers and apply them to any relationship, any loss in your life. So having said that, let's get started today. And
Sure.
this is an important subject for us, Lisa, for everybody,
Let's go
because
back
we
to
don't
what,
think that these
yeah,
triggers
let's go
will
back to what
happen,
a
but they do.
trigger is. Let's go back to what a trigger is. You and I immediately knew and
Please.
were drawn to it, but it's something that starts memories going and something that says, oh, yes, that reminds me of, or that's something that we did, or that's something that they did, or something that, and it could be many, many things. We're going to give our personal examples, but triggers happen every day, and they might catch you off guard because you never know when something's going to elicit that kind of, oh yeah, that kind of response. So
And it sounds just like the word. It's a
yeah.
trigger. So what does it trigger? It actually triggers emotion and feelings of overwhelm, where you might have been happy that morning. And I'm sorry, I have a little cold today. Bear with me. You might have been happy and feeling, comfort and serene that very morning, and then all of a sudden you'll feel this trigger. Something will happen in the course of a day, and you'll just feel like you're going off the deep end. And the
Right,
emotions can range from 1 to 10, really, and there's no telling. There's
right.
no telling, there's no rhyme or reason. But we're going to give you some of the triggers that we've experienced, that Lisa and I have felt and went through. And maybe you'll relate, or maybe you'll learn and grow through this lesson and know when it happens to you that, oh, that's what this is. That's what's
Yeah.
happening here.
Yes, yes. I want to start out with all things pumpkin. Um, we really loved Halloween. We loved pumpkins. We always, since 1975 in college, we were melting pumpkins, we were baking, we were making things, we were carving, everything pumpkin. And so pumpkin for me is a trigger. It's wow, we used to do this, and we used to do this with our kids. And when my husband was alive, we always carved and we always had these cute faces. We even did Sesame Street characters. I mean, all those things just come right over me. They just pour into me. And I'm filled with like an overwhelming sense of his presence and sadness that he's not here doing those things now with me. But I love doing them because there's something that's still part of me. So the feeling that, of course, the loss is there and the fact that he's not here to share this with me, combined with the things of the legacy of doing it and making sure that this is something that I continue in my life. Um, so that's a trigger for me. It's a pumpkin
That's
thing,
important.
and
And
it's yeah, yeah.
but another thing to point out here is that during the trigger, you're experiencing the negative naturally because it's overwhelming, um, exhausting, and draining. But during the trigger, you can also experience the positive,
Yes,
right? You can
yes,
experience just like you do. You know you're doing it. You're forcing yourself to do this pumpkin on the counter in the very moment that you're in.
yes,
But there's a positiveness there, and it's a sense of security and comfort.
it is.
as well, that we always did this and I want to continue to do this and I'll get through this,
That's right. That's
right? A little
exactly
bit of
right.
bravery is involved during that trigger too,
Correct. Correct. Yep.
right? I
Yep.
have a big one that I think of. Music was very big to my husband and I. So there are a number of songs that actually my kids crack up because I constantly will say, "Oh, that was mine and daddy's song." And they're like, "Okay, how many do you have?" We don't just have one song, but there was so many that I relate to. Music is powerful and it brings you back to a certain place and time and things you were doing and the emotions that you felt. So getting back to the trigger, yeah, I feel that in the car when I'm driving, when a song comes on. Um, but one that has stood out over the past 7 years for me is setting up the Christmas tree. And I think I talked about this in another video. And he always used to do the lights. Pain in the neck, we'd bring the tree in, he'd cut it, we'd put it up, he'd do all the lights. And then when it comes time to putting the bulbs on now, oh, well, he's tired, and he has to sit down and put the game on or put something on TV. Still there with me as I'm putting the bulbs on the tree. So that was our kind of tradition. When the kids were younger, of course, they helped, right? But as they got older, they were doing this or doing that, and we would just do it together. Well, this trigger, okay, I'm by myself and I say, this is wonderful, I can do this. And I put the music on and I pour myself a glass of wine, which probably doesn't help the situation this year. Maybe it should be tea, right? But I pour the glass of wine and I'm okay. And I'm putting the bulbs on and this feels good. And this is bringing back the memories. And then the one song comes on. Oh my God. It's the night's over now because, and the night's not over. I didn't mean to say that because I will go on, but I can tell you in these last 7 trees that I've put up, I physically have to go sit down on the couch and I bawl. That's the best word. I cry horrifically.
And you
Why
know
did this happen?
there's something about our society that says that that's not okay, but it really is okay. I think that
Yes,
there's this fear that all of a sudden we're going to fall apart and we'll never come back together again. And that's not
right,
the case. That's not the case.
right.
It's okay to take that time and to cry and to do whatever feelings or be angry or whatever we have, because that's how we express our feelings, and that's all right. I'm more concerned about people who hide those and it goes somewhere. I don't know where, but maybe it comes out in other not constructive ways. Maybe there's yelling and screaming, maybe, about other, with other people. I mean, it's one thing to, and again, we're going to talk about, of course, responding to triggers. Okay. But taking that minute or minutes or whatever you need to take a break and cry and all, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and know in your mind, that this is okay and this is
Right.
part of grieving, right? It's part of grieving your loss, and you have to go through to get to the other side,
And let's just,
eventually.
yeah, and let's just say also that people say, oh, it's been 5 years, why am I still doing this? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It
That
doesn't matter.
trigger, that thing that reminds us so much of that person and the life we had, that's there. That's not going to disappear. That's there. So
Now,
it's okay.
just a note, it's happened every year. Okay. But now I'll expect maybe that to happen this year. And if it doesn't happen, all the better.
Uh-huh.
But my tree always gets up, all the ornaments get on, and we continue on to the next year.
Yes.
So that's been a big one for me.
Yes. And by the way, songs, I want to talk about my mother, because when we did the unveiling for her, there was a song that we did by Celine Dion. And it was something that back in like 6th grade or something, our kids did because of you, because you love me. And they did it for graduation. And that year that she died, I heard that song so many times in so many places. I would walk into a store and it was playing. I'd turn on the radio and it was playing. It was just, I was attuned to it, but it was around me everywhere.
Almost
It was
like it was meant
beautiful.
to be. It was
Yeah,
almost meant to be, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like she was just around, following me around. So it
So
can
what's
happen.
another trigger that you've experienced, Lisa?
Piece of clothing. Here comes my piece of clothing story. It's my wolf jacket. So here's the story. We went cross country back in 2000 and we hit all the great places, you know. And of course, we were at the Grand Canyon in our RV, camping and all. We went to their trading post that's there. The trading post has a lot of beautiful stuff, really expensive things. It always did. But we walked into the store and we looked around and all. And I saw this beautiful wolf jacket. I mean, gorgeous black and white jacket, fluffy and soft. Anyway, I looked at it and in 2000, it was $75. That's a lot of money in 2000. Who knows what it was now? And it wasn't real fur or anything, but it was just beautiful, the pattern on it, everything else. My husband saw it and I said, this is crazy. I mean, $75 for this jacket. And I walked out. I didn't know that he was not behind me. Okay. And he went back in and he bought the jacket. So here I
That's
am since
sweet.
2000 wearing this jacket. And every single time I wear it, there is somebody who says, what a beautiful jacket. That's my trigger. That's my trigger. It's just such an amazing memory, you know, of him and of our trip. And it still brings tears to my eyes. It still brings that sense of, you know, he cared and he wanted me to have it. And every time I wear it, it's deep inside of me. It makes, you know, it's that overwhelming sense
And
of
that will
love.
probably that will never go away.
No, that will never go
You
away.
know, but look, we're smiling and we're
Yes,
talking about it right now. And that's a part of growing and getting through the process, right?
that's right.
You know, another one is with clothing with my husband. I can't believe I'm talking about him so much. Um, he collected Harley Davidson shirts. Now, if you've heard me speak before, you know that my husband was 6'8" without shoes, and he wore big work boots. He was almost 300 pounds, but thin. You know, he was a big guy, and I'm 5'2". But he had this things, and he did have a Harley for a short time, just a few years, and then he got rid of it. But he was a big truck guy, you know. But there was something about Harley that he loved. So he, with our business, he installed playground floors, and he's been to 50 states in the United States, and every state he traveled to, he had to find a Harley place. Even when we were with him, you know, he had to go out of the way to find the Harley place. To top it off, do you know how much a 3X long sleeve Harley shirt is? Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't thrilled with this. Don't you have enough? Don't you have enough? Anyway, he's collected a lot of them over the years. I have them all in a box in a safe space for something one day, you know, when my kids decide to do something with them. But I'm cleaning out my armoire recently and I pull everything out and I'm getting rid of them in this clean out mode, my clothes. And as I'm going through one of the piles with sweatshirts, there were two of the nicer long sleeve Harley shirts that I had in there. And it caught me by surprise because I didn't expect them to be in there.
Sure.
And just picking them up and holding them reminded me of folding his clothes and laundry. And I'm like, I want to wear this,
Mhm.
you know, and it was shocking for me to find this. So that's a big one that is a trigger for me. And I'm sure for both my boys, you know, whenever we see a Holly shirt somewhere.
You know, they
So
have that,
there's so many. And clothing, that's a big one.
you know, they have that t-shirt.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
They have that t-shirt. What's it
I've
called?
done that. A
Okay.
blanket.
Yeah, Frankfurt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've done that. I actually made my own
Oh, wow.
um because I'm quilt savvy.
Okay.
but I did make my own for my boys. I made them each one with all their baseball
Nice.
jerseys and football jerseys through the years.
Nice. Nice.
So I know, and that's an idea, but not something I've done yet. But
Sure. Sure.
that's just another trigger,
Nice.
right?
Nice. Pieces of
Even
jewelry.
something,
Pieces
oh,
of
let's go
jewelry.
ahead. Let's talk about
Pieces of
jewelry.
jewelry. So Fortune Offs here on Long Island used to be the place to go for jewelry. And he would go in and he would buy one piece and then he'd go back and buy a matching thing. So if it was the earring, then it was a necklace, and it was the necklace, then it was um, a bracelet. And he'd get all these matching sets of things. And I've kept a couple that have been, really more special to me. And each time I put it on, whichever it is, the flooding of those memories of him going out and making sure that he bought something really delicate and detailed. And, he knew my taste, he knew what I really liked, and he spent a lot of time trying to find that. So each time I put on a piece, that's what comes to me. Yep.
All right, so we'll talk about jewelry for a second. So my trigger is there were these two pieces that he gave me. And then, of course, my two pieces that I did not care for, by the way, but he liked them for some reason. Then I had my wedding ring and my engagement ring that I don't wear anymore, right, at this point. And every time I would see these pieces, it just bothered me, especially the two that I didn't like, because I will never, ever wear them. One was, it almost looked like a spider with long legs, but they had diamond chips in them, but I would never, ever, so I would see it through these years, and I don't know what I'm ever going to do with it. Who would ever even want it, and this and that. But we have a show that we did on that with the jewelry. So I took those four pieces. I went to a jeweler that I know, and she transformed that into one ring that I'll be picking up in the next few weeks.
Nice.
That'll be my Christmas present.
Nice.
But those were triggers for me.
Yes.
And now they no longer will be, because
Yes.
it developed into something more beautiful that I chose, that I'll love.
I've repurposed a lot of jewelry, including my mom's jewelry. So taking pieces out, making it into something else, taking my husband's star sapphire ring that nobody wanted and putting that into a pendant, making that into a pendant. So that's a really good way of transforming something into something that you could use and something that you would want to have. It's a really good thing to do.
What about food, Lisa? What
Yeah,
about
there comes
food?
my
What about a
here
meal?
comes pecan pie. You ready? We made the best pecan pie. That's what we were known for during our Thanksgiving times. And everybody would say, make sure you bring your pecan pie. And I don't meet with that family anymore. I meet with different family now. And they don't really like pecan pie, so I make pecan pie for myself. And same thing with pumpkin pie. Not everybody likes pumpkin pie, but we love pumpkin pie. So again, recipes and certain foods, absolutely, absolutely. Like my
Well,
mother,
we're in trouble here because, go ahead, what?
my mother used to make these molds, these Jello molds, and I can never make them like her. She made beautiful molds all the time. They always came out really nice. And I would try and try to make them look nice and all, and then they would fall. So yeah, another trigger, for my mom and for my husband. Food.
Well, our trigger is Chinese food, because that was his favorite. He could eat it 5 nights a week. Every birthday, every anniversary, let's get Chinese food. But he never got $20 worth of Chinese food. He always got at least 50 to
Wow.
$60 worth of
Yeah.
Chinese food.
Wow.
So why? So he'd have it for leftovers for a few days.
Uh-huh.
So now it's difficult to bring Chinese in, because that's what I still think of now, 7 years later. Right? So I don't cry over that trigger.
Yeah.
It's still in the back of my mind. What about, Lisa? This is a big trigger. A movie.
Yep.
Maybe a favorite movie of theirs.
Yeah.
Right? We
So
know you and I both have that trigger, that There was a movie that Dances with Wolves, that was one of his favorite, that I could never, it's a 3-hour movie at least, never get myself to watch. And when it came on, I would quick flip through the channels or whatever. I couldn't watch it. And then Lisa convinced me to watch it, one of our anniversaries, or maybe it was his birthday, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I had to prepare for this. So I made everything cozy, and here I am watching the movie, and I'm so glad that I did. It helped me get over that little kind of trigger that every time I saw the title of that movie, it upset me. So I did manage to get through that one. I haven't watched it again, just one
Uh-huh.
time, but
Well,
that's a trigger, right?
here's how I deal with movies. And I think that if it works for people like it works for me, great. Um, Fred's birthday is coming up on Friday. He would have turned 70. And there are movies that were important to us that we always watched. And so for Friday, I'll watch The Big Chill. It was a great movie. We really enjoyed it. And sometimes I cry during it, certain parts that we would laugh, or, the funeral part and all. But it makes me feel like I brought something of him there for that day. For the anniversary of his passing on January 30th, I watched Ghost. Patrick Swayze had the same disease as him, a wife named Lisa. I mean, so many coincidences. They were sick at the same time. Pretty amazing. And Ghost is an amazing movie. And for my father's birthday, I watched Yentl. Such a beautiful movie about the love of a father and a daughter. And every single time I cry, I know the exact spot I'm going to cry. I do. That's just the way it is. But movies still for me are ways of bringing that person near and close to me,
Of course,
no matter how it feels.
it's comforting. It
Sure.
can be comforting if you give it a chance.
Yeah.
Another trigger, and I don't have a lot of these, but I do have some of these. A particular town, or a place that you visit, or a place that you go. I've since been to Disney with my boys. We used to take them, we must have taken them 15 times during, the course of our marriage. And there are particular places in Disney and Epcot, where he stood having his German beer, and and those are hard. Those are hard, but even locally, in your towns, he used to go to certain places and do certain things, and those all can be triggers for you, right?
Sure. For me, at Syracuse, our favorite place was Cazenovia Falls, Chittenango Falls, sorry. Beautiful, amazing place. Carved out millions of years ago by glaciers and all. And going there is just, it's amazing. It's so overwhelming to see this, to know how many times we go there from Syracuse. We went to Syracuse University, and the whole area there and what it meant. So yeah, bringing that back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were
And of course, for
all,
me, it's also pictures, by the way. I'm surrounded here in this room by 151 albums. He was a photographer on the side, as an architect and as a lawyer. And so we have a lot of pictures, a lot of albums. I have another 8,000 pictures that were scanned, that were in buckets when I moved. So pictures are really big for me. Looking over pictures and the memories of the pictures and what they represented and everything that we did together. Yeah, it's big. It's really big.
that's a hard one.
It's a
There are
hard.
still a lot of move. I am, all right, you're gonna yell at me if I tell you this, Lisa. You see? So Lisa and I do this as our side gig. Okay. We've put out now almost 80 videos since we've been together. And yet I still have not, I'm embarrassed.
Go ahead.
I still have not gotten out the whole movies, Lisa. Still haven't gotten them out. Looked at them. Photo albums, I can do. I can do something, and I'm being really vulnerable right now. Please don't tell anybody you saw me say this, but there's something about seeing him running around with my kids, because he was such a comedian. He was so big and so loud. He used to do things like have all the kids' friends line up in a row and everybody run under daddy's legs because he was so tall. And it was hysterical. And the kids would roll, and he'd get on hands and knees and chase them through the house and scare them, and they'd all be laughing, laughing, laughing. One day, my son, who he's still friends with at 30 years old, the first day he met him, as a matter of fact, hysterical, crying, hysterical. And we were all stopped and we were like, Joe, what's the matter? Joe, don't cry. What's wrong? And he goes, my daddy doesn't play with me like this.
Aw, aw.
It was the cutest thing. They laugh about it, right, today. But so that's what I'm afraid of.
So
I'm
sometimes
afraid of seeing these
we're
live in motion pictures.
okay. So I'm so here we
Bad
are
girl, bad
helping.
girl.
No, no, no. We're helping each other as we're helping others. So let me just make a suggestion. Okay. Sometimes the dread of what it will feel like is worse than what it will feel like. And so the buildup of what that is for you and being nervous about what that, how you're going to react is worse than how you will. And so if I were you, I might set a goal. Maybe it's going to be a Christmas, and maybe you're going to take out one Christmas movie from your videos or something, or maybe whatever it's going to be, but it's going to be just one. And you're going to try that one just for a very short period of time, maybe 15 minutes worth. That's all you're going to do. And you're going to build to the point where I am positive you'll be able to watch that whole thing. But you'll set a small goal and small steps, and you will get to the point. You just need, it's the anticipation of what that is. It is hard to see our loved ones, alive again, but there's really something beautiful in seeing that and hearing their voices again. And hearing, I love watching the movies. On my anniversary, we did a 25th wedding anniversary back at Westbury Manor, where we just were for a conference. We, by the way, were in that room. Talk about trigger. We're in that room that we had our reception, and we were together, you and I. But I watched that movie and I love the fact that, we danced our first dance and we did all the fun things and we had such a really fun anniversary thing. I mean, we did a remarriage thing and our original vows. I love watching it again. I really do love it. So I think you just
It's funny. It's 7 years, right? And I have about one dream a year about him, which is nothing, right? I don't know why it's about one dream a year, but every dream that I have is very comforting to me. And in my dream, I know that he's not here anymore and that he's passed, but he's come back. And I'm so thankful and grateful that we're together doing whatever we're doing. It's the oddest thing, but that comforts me. But the movies, we'll see. I'll try that this year, Lisa, and I'll let you know. Stay
short,
tuned.
short. Okay,
Are
short.
there any other triggers that we're thinking of? I'm thinking of particular tasks. Okay. I didn't particularly get up and go shopping every Saturday morning with him to Costco I know a lot of couples do that though. I know a lot of couples did particular tasks together, got out there and did this, got out there and did that. Some of these things have to be triggers. I'll never go to that store again, or I'll never, do these particular tasks again because they're just too hard.
Sure.
Right.
I used to drag my son food shopping because every Sunday morning that's what we used to do. So for the first month or two, I dragged my son with me. I said, I cannot do this alone. And he would come with me to that same store, and he was very understanding about it. And in time, I was able to do it alone. And now I have a significant other who loves doing the shopping and doesn't want me to go. So, if things evolve into something else, you really never know how it will. But here's the thing, things change. You need to be open to change and to
I'm
how
flexible.
things can move. They move in different directions that you don't anticipate, that you don't really realize. And you got to be open and you got to be
What
flexible.
about repairs, Lisa? Repairs. This is a big one for me. This
Car?
because he did everything. No, not
Oh,
only cars, house, yard, things, just things. Something breaks and he'd fix it, and that's been tough for me.
yeah.
and that can trigger me, because if something goes wrong and I can't do it, and nobody else I know can do it, it upsets me. It changes my mood. Why did you have to leave? Why are you not here? Why did you leave this for me to take care of? And it just makes you feel really vulnerable and not so independent.
Yeah.
So know that, though. If you know this ahead of time, like you're hearing this today, that might not have happened to you yet. Or you may have a friend. If you have a friend who's lost someone in their lives, these are some of the things that they're going through, and you can possibly be a helping hand,
Yeah. Or
for
even give
them as
some
they go
advice.
through.
I know a referral, or I know somebody who can help you with this. Just support and information sometimes, because you have to add in new situations. They're new. So,
Lisa, what about happy couples?
yeah.
What about happy couples? You're happy for them, but then it also triggers you feeling lonely, so that can be a trigger as well for people.
To me, happy couples meant that I should be happy too, that I needed to find happiness. And I waited for
Yeah.
2 years. And then I was absolutely ready to do something else. I did it in stages. I wasn't really dating. I was just joining groups. I was joining single groups. I was, just to be around other people who were single. My friends loved me dearly, but they were a couple. So, I was trying to find my way. Happy couples meant to me that I could find happiness somewhere again. That's how again, everybody's so personal in how they view things,
Sure.
how they feel about things. I'm sure there's many triggers for everybody, but it's really now what you do with it. You embrace it. Do you allow yourself to feel that sadness, which is okay? It's uncomfortable for a while. It's scary for a while, but it'll be okay. It really is okay.
And
Because you get
always
one more
remember
thing.
that these thoughts that you have are only in your mind, and I have to say that all the time, because I forget that myself sometimes. Nobody else is feeling them or thinking them but you. So with that, you also have the power to change a circumstance and I can't breathe, do something a little differently, step outside of your box. Right. So in the middle of me crying, putting the Christmas ornaments up, I could always shut the music off and put a movie on.
Sure.
Right. I could always stop and go out and take a ride, or go to a friend's house, or go to the store, and come back and finish it later.
Sure.
We have the power to make choices. We just don't make them.
Right.
So I think that that's an important thing to remember as well.
Right. And also seeking out again other family members, other friends. They're there. Sometimes you feel so alone that you just don't realize that many of them actually want to help and don't know what to say or don't know what to do. They would love you to
Yeah.
call up and say, hey, I really need some
I'm in a
company right
dark
now.
place.
Or can we go out somewhere? Or can you meet me somewhere? They would love that because they're trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to help and they don't know what to do for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So make that first move, make that first phone call. And for some people, they may not have that. They may not have family or friends or somebody that they feel that they can count on or even want to be around right now. That's a natural feeling too. So you need to bring new people into your life. You need to start doing some new things to get you outside of that box, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Are there any other triggers that you could think of
No,
today?
there's so many, in our
I
lives.
know,
I just tried to
I
find the
know.
things that, I could relate to quickly. I mean, by the way, you said about the tree. I just want to point out that we had a winter solstice tree. It was not a religious tree. It was always a ball, by the way, ball tree with the root ball. And we would plant it. We had so many solstice trees in our yard. They were all over the house because every year we'd have a new ball tree. And when I came here to live with my significant other, he said, no trees in my yard. So I got my first plastic tree. I couldn't believe it was plastic. So I had to leave that memory behind and start something new. But all the decorations that are not religious, of course, are on this 4-foot tree. And they all represent the things that we've done in our lives and things that the kids would make, places that we visited. It's a life tree. That's what it is for us, for me, a life tree.
It's just making the best out of it. Times change,
They do.
seasons change. If we're lucky, we're only here on this earth for 100 years, right? And it goes by quick. So we
Yeah.
need to make the best of it that we can and enjoy our experience here while we're still living.
That's right. That's right. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of those feelings. It's okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. We're stronger than we all think, than we give ourselves credit for. So,
Well, very good, Lisa. I think we gave quite
yeah,
a
me too.
few tips today that I hope that they helped a little bit. And if you have any other questions about these or just want to reach out and ask some questions, get some referrals, please. Our phone numbers are up above. Contact either one of us. Talk about your bereavement group
Yes.
a little bit, Lisa.
Yes. So I'm running a 6-week support group. It's an online support group about the holidays. And it's a small group of people who are all talking about how to get through the holidays and the process. We had our first session last week. There are 5 more sessions. And if you want any information about it, my contact information is right there. So
Excellent.
happy to
And
help.
if you're looking at all for a gift for a family member, aunt, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, mom, or dad, I do a 4-week project. It's called The Story of Me, and it helps leave their stories, memories, experiences with photos for future generations to come. So you can always contact me or check out the website for more information about that. Thank you very much for joining today. And Lisa, it was wonderful seeing you. And I will see you again next week.
Sounds good, Susan. Take good care of yourself.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.